I don't hear enough in any room talking about the data storage, the hardware, the servers, the electricity that is required to turn all of these things on, and we still don't have quantum computing. Now, when quantum computing gets here, then it's a different story. But there's still a lot of challenges, and I think that maybe we've gotten a little carried away with like movies of AI. At first it was like, oh my god, robots are gonna kill us, and AI is gonna kill us, and now everyone's like, oh my god, should I even work because AI is going to take my job and I don't know what to do. And that's really the reality, right? But I think for all of you, so many of you raised your hands when you were asked if you were a founder or an aspiring founder. I think what's so important, and just touching a little bit on what you just mentioned, the mindset is so important if you want to be in startups. You have to be a little masochistic, right? Because you're gonna get beaten down. Also, as investors, we have to raise, so we get beat down. But you have to have this like, this problem really bothers me. I'm gonna spend 90% of my time focused on solving for it. But be realistic, right? Like, where can you find this traction so you can tell a story? And by the way, I think the panel has talked a little bit about there was an era where it was easier to raise, but for many of us, it was never easy to raise. It was never easy. And also, I'm going to challenge the thought that we need to teach risk. I have been on your roads. You guys take risks when you're driving. I don't even know. I've just been like, wait, are there lanes here? And that's, you already have it in your culture to be community driven, to take risks, right? You're laughing because it's true.
We are a nation of daredevils.
And also, you guys come from like a heritage of the Silk Road, this concept of trade and taking what you're looking at and what you have and building on it, right? So for me, again, I keep coming back to think about the problem that you're solving for. Why is it important to you? And I'll bring it back, I'll give an example in particular that will be more applicable to you. I'll go back to our friend, the Book Me founder. I asked him, how did you even come up with your company and what drove you? Like, what was the journey like? And he said, my wife and I came from a town where we had to like go all the way to Lahore, which took forever, and we wanted to see movies, and we couldn't see movies. And I just said, you know, we have to have a better life than this. And then there's girls who need to go take a bus to go to school, and they need to, you know, stand at the ticket stand to buy tickets, and all, you know, all these things that it was like a personal issue. And he said, wait, nobody's solving for this. And he did something that I think we all can be reminded of every day, which is to remember that even though things have been done a certain way, or this is just the way things are done, if we can get over that hump, we can see an entire world of possibility. You have to be a little crazy to start a startup, right? I'm mentioning, and also an investor in early stage. And he said, look, I took this, and then I knew that people weren't going to pay with on their phones, so then I made it possible for anyone to be able to pay with cash, but we'd still be running on technology in the back end. And so we're digitizing, and then we went to banks, and we were like, hey, how about this value add service for your customers? And now they have a huge distribution angle where now they're in over 4.5 million phones, right, users. I was just like, this is exactly what I mean by stay Lahore, stay Pakistan, right? He thought about how does the culture work? What are our issues? Someone needs to solve for this. We're gonna go at it, and there were iterations, but long story short, this, 10 years or however long I forget how many years. But you figure that's the way, and you have to have endurance. So if you don't have it, maybe this isn't for you, and that's okay. Okay, I will get off my tech talk.
That makes a lot of sense. We often call it that you have to build in an early nascent ecosystem. You have to build bridges to go to your customer instead of expecting them to come to your side and adapt the technology that's not really mainstream right now. So talking about tech and talking about building products, so Abbas putting up the founder hat now instead of investor. So you have been building AI products and tech products for a long, long period of time. And so what's different about this hype cycle? Because you seem to double down. And while there's generally seems to be in Pakistani market a downturn for things, what is it that you know that nobody knows?
It's a great point, but before I forget, there are amazing entrepreneurs here who are better qualified to answer this question. I see a whole bunch, old ones, my mentors, colleagues, and new ones. So I think just good to be here in this audience. I've got the time for you. All right. So now back to your question. I think, look, you kind of come from the 90s, right? So I built data centers, so the whole cloud, in mobile, I wrote big on cloud and deep tech. I think this, despite, I think, what we just said, that of course this requires, we need to ask the cost of building, and also is it a oligarchy, or is it who's going to win eventually? Is it 2, 4, or who, right? What have you? And we all went through this, right? I mean, and we all have friends who, I'm sure, who are at the center of it, but they wake up, and I ask them the same question, like, we wake up every day and we ask the same question, like, you have no idea what we're doing. So it's moving very fast. Now, to answer your question, I think the reason it is very different, if you ask me 6 months ago, I say it feels different. I think it is very different, is that it's sped up. I think the cost of experimentation and to run the entire cycle of having an idea and prove it out is way, way faster than anything else, number one. Number two, access to powerful tools, right? Back in the data center, you're starting off, you needed hardware, you needed to buy racks or buy servers, and then by the time you build a waterfall, you're already $500,000 down there. It's like, it may or may not work, right? I've been through those things as well. But now, it's democratized the tool itself, which is very, very powerful, right? And I think so the barrier to entry is lower, and you don't have to go. We're not saying go build the next GPT, right, or the next powerful LLM, right? That's already done, right? And it's just going to get better. We're saying kind of the rails are there. Just go build the application on top of